I was intending on researching the chemtrails, but then I saw that The Avengers has made its way to Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought, I'll watch it for half an hour and then I'll do some research. It ended up being more than half an hour, and I looked at the time and I was like, oh fuck, I should start researching. And that's when I texted you. I need about half an hour.
You've got no dedication to this podcast.
Not when it's your episode.
Oh, thanks.
But you picked chemtrails, and you said yourself it was boring. The first paragraph I read about it, I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did pick like holograms and...
Again, which was boring. Yeah, the reptilians one was good. Holograms, not so much.
Yeah, and remember, I'm the ratings gold, remember? I've been in all the good ones. That's the only chance I'm ever going to get to say that.
It has nothing to do with the fact that you had the better episodes, as in you had the better topics. You didn't come up with Alyssa Lamb, that was a Chris topic.
Yeah, but you can't give him much credit. He's barely in this anymore.
It's because he got sent to prison. And guess what he's doing in prison right now?
What?
He's watching Con Air.
Con Air?
Con Air.
What's that?
Don't you... Oh, yeah, because you don't watch popular movies.
No, I don't.
It was a movie from the 90s. Nicolas Cage, he was the lead character. He got arrested for his wife's murder, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
And got sent to prison. And what happened is that they were transporting him and some other prisoners via plane, and then the prisoners took over. So, Con Air.
I get it.
You get it?
Yeah, it's very clever of them.
Yeah.
Well
I remember when I was first watching it with my brother, and I asked him what it was about. All he said was Con Air. He just said Con Air. I was a child. I didn't know what that meant. like, the same thing happened when we were first watching Ransom together, you know, the Mel Gibson movie.
I don't really watch Mel Gibson films. So.
Yeah, no one does anymore. But what happened was that his kid was kidnapped and held for ransom. And again, I was a child. Didn't know what ransom meant.
Did he blame it on the Jews?
No, not in the movie. He doesn't do it in the movies apart from Passion of Christ.
Yeah.
But every time I asked my brother what ransom was about, all he'd say was ransom, ransom, ransom. So, yeah.
Your brother sounds really helpful.
He is very helpful. Well, he gave me a laptop charger when mine broke, so
Yeah. You can't be too critical.
No, I can't be too critical because I needed that laptop charger because I wasn't going to be next to an Apple store for weeks. And I was so close to tears. And it was like 7 in the evening, and I was about to go back to my house, and it just broke. It snapped. The wire snapped, and I was like, "Fuck."
Oh, that shit.
Fuck.
Yeah, I had to buy the new like USB cable because mine started to break.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I had 2. I gave one to Yulia.
Yeah.
And I've still got my other one, my old one. And I've got 2 for my iPhone as well, so...
Yeah. It's so bloody expensive, though. They're like 15 quid.
They are. What? They really are, and I don't know why.
It's just a bit of wire and...
I know. And they don't even stretch that far. They're really short.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But the way the laptop's always placed, it always has to bend as well. That's
it
why
does,
it
which is why it always breaks off. And the plastic they wrap around it is really flimsy.
Yeah. So what's really annoying about Apple is like the computer. That's really good. That's great. That's
no. The newer ones they get shitter and shitter.
Do they?
Yeah, I think the newer ones they just if it's broken, it's broken. They can't really fix it. Whereas me and you, we've got the older ones. So if something does break, it's repairable.
Yeah.
But the newer, it goes to electronics in general, the newer they are, the worse they are, the worse quality. Like phones back in the 90s and early noughties. They were really good. And now,
they are, actually.
You're lucky if it lasts a year. Like my iPhone, I hated getting an iPhone, but I had to have the upgrade because my old phone was shit as well. And it was breaking. I hated having to get an iPhone, but that's like the only option. All they do is smartphones, which are all equally terrible. But that iPhone lasted 5 months. Not even 5 months, I don't think. I had to get it replaced.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that happened in my, the Apple guarantee thing. But it's terrible. It shouldn't be breaking after 5 months. And I didn't even do anything with it. Apparently it was a system fault. It happens sometimes. That was my explanation. And I was like, so it's not even my fault. So if it happens again, because I'm out of the guarantee now, the 1 year guarantee. If that happens again, I'm fucked. Fuck Apple, okay? You're shit. Fuck Windows, you're shit. Nokia, please come back to us. and buy yourself out of windows somehow. I don't know how you can do that, but Nokia, you were perfect as you were. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably start talking about something. Because you picked such a shit topic. It's your week.
I was trying to find something a bit more cheerful. From
the chemtrails.
Yeah. Well, that turned out to be really exciting.
So glad I got distracted with the Avengers.
Yeah.
But the first paragraph, after the first paragraph, I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
That was 5 minutes before we're starting to recording. I was like, I don't want to do this.
I started reading an article and it went on forever, and I was like, I can't be bothered to get to the end of this.
So we're doing another disappearance.
Yeah, really cheerful one, this one as well.
Yeah, like it features depression and communism and capitalism and consumerism.
Yeah, it's all the things that Tarmin loves.
It's better than the alternative, though.
What's that?
Well, first of all, chemtrails. The second one, we did actually have a listener suggestion this week.
Did you?
Well, sort of. It's by someone we know. Well, actually, I don't think you've met him. He's Beardy Ben. He's one of Chris's friends. I've met him a couple of times.
Oh, no.
And he suggested we do a uplifting, talk on ISIS. So, I laughed and I was like, I don't think we're going to do that.
I think we'd generally be arrested if we did.
Yeah, a light-hearted, uplifting talk on ISIS.
Yeah.
It's like, probably let's steer away from that.
Yeah,
we get arrested for that, but then all the other shit we've said in this podcast, the politically incorrect ones, us discussing how we'd murder people and hide their bodies.
Yeah.
You being obsessed with Jimmy Savile.
What? Shut up.
That was it. Were just high-pitched noises.
That's slander, that is. I'm not...
That's slander.
As the people who listened, they know that that was all you two. It was you and Chris that did that. I stayed well clear.
Yeah,
I didn't wish to talk about it. Hopefully that clears that up.
It really doesn't.
Shut up.
Anyway, so we have to do intro music at some point.
Oh,
we're quite far in already, but we have to do intro music at some point.
Do you want me to shout it?
I don't know. Do you want to do it or should I do it?
I don't know. It's up to you.
I don't know. It's a mighty predicament we find ourselves in.
Yeah. You're just going to wait forever.
yeah. Who does the intro music this week?
It's your turn.
Is it? Did you do last ones?
No.
Oh. Then how is it my turn?
I don't know. It's just your turn.
Okay.
Intro music.
Welcome to the Dorks Deduction Podcast, where we talk about stuff.
I trailed off like a zombie. Did you like that?
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah. If people saw me and then heard that noise come out of my mouth, how freaked out would they be?
Yeah, they'd run a mile.
I think people are just freaked out by anything that comes out of my mouth because I look like baby-faced and innocent.
Yeah, well, I suppose you do.
I didn't say I was. I said I look.
Yeah. Innocence, that's not a word I'd describe.
No, I said I look.
Yeah.
But I'm really not. Like, once you get to know me, to passing acquaintances, I'm fine, actually.
Yeah.
Because they can't see the real me, because then they'll know the truth.
They'll know about the bodies.
I don't know about the bodies that hide in my garden in the shed. Oh, one thing that I realised, our anniversary episode is on the 25th of May.
Is it?
Yeah.
Your birthday?
Yeah.
Did we do the first one on your birthday?
That's when the first one went up, yeah. Because I think we were neglecting actually uploading it. And then on my birthday, I think I was out during the day and I got home and I logged on and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it now. So I just uploaded it. And now that is our anniversary. I didn't realise that we... Yeah. So I think for our anniversary episode, we should do great things that happened on the 25th of May. Yeah, being born could be...
I think I know which one's more important.
Me being born?
No. The anniversary of the podcast, of course.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah?
The podcast exists because I was born. Because who holds all the accounts?
Not necessarily.
Who holds all the accounts?
It could exist without you.
Who holds all the accounts and whose bank account is linked to
this? That's just a
this?
mere technicality, that. Really.
You guys don't even know the logins and passwords.
You could have been anyone. You could have been anyone.
You guys don't even know the login details and the password.
You could have been...
If I died, this podcast dies with me because I'm the one that has all the information to get in and the only one that edits.
Someone else could, could easily do that.
Really? Matt, okay. Yeah. You and Chris took a combined total of 6 months to edit the Loch Ness Monster episode, and you guys didn't do it. I did it in one night.
Yeah.
It took me 2 hours.
That's a point. I'll give you that, but still.
Chris, Matt, I'm sorry. When I told you to cut out the dead air of the Loch Ness episode, in the full uncut version of the Loch Ness episode, you took all our individual tracks, 2 separate tracks, cut out all the dead air. Yeah, you cut out all the dead air of the 2 individual tracks rather than the one that was mixed and ready to go.
That was Chris's fault.
How's that Chris's fault?
It just is.
If you say so. Anyway, shit. Okay, so because Matt failed completely with picking the topic, and although, Ben, we love your suggestion, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do ISIS. I have had to take the reins once again, and we're going to be discussing... Reins, yes. And we're going to be discussing the disappearance of Richey Edwards.
Not a relation,
I'm pretty sure Matt's family probably had something to do with this as well. Because they have something to do with everything, don't they?
He was not my parents, my elder son.
Who disappeared.
Yeah.
After you were born. A few years after you were born.
Yeah, the one that was born nearly over 20 odd years before I was born.
But you have older parents, so it's feasible.
Before they were married, in fact, actually.
Oh my God. People have children before they're married?
They didn't even know each other at this point.
Now, how do you know? You weren't there.
I do know the story of how they got together.
Yeah, but you weren't there. Parents lie to their children all the time.
That it's been confirmed by other people, like uncles and aunts. So I'm pretty sure.
You're pretty sure that something happened when you weren't alive. What happened to you only believing something when you saw it, Matt?
I never said that.
Yeah, you did. Like all the Ghost One episodes that we do, or the Legend episodes that we do, it always ends with you saying, I didn't see it, so it doesn't exist.
That's the point.
Yeah.
My parents could be dead. I mean, could not be dead then by that point.
That's true. They could still be alive.
Could be out there. They could be out there with Richey somewhere.
Yeah, they ran off with Richey, their favourite son.
Yeah, the Edwards family, happy. Well,
and have another daughter called Rachel, apparently, because Richey had a sister called Rachel.
Yeah, my parents got around, didn't they?
They did, didn't they? No, this is part of your dad's second family. Remember, we discussed that.
Oh, yeah, my second family.
Yeah, your dad's second family. So it didn't have to be with your mum. Someone else's child.
He was engaged to be married to someone before my mum.
How salacious.
I know.
It's like your parents had life before you were born.
I know.
They're not allowed to do that, are they?
No.
Yeah, my parents...
It's freaky.
My parents didn't really have lives before we were born. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, our parents' lives were worthless until we came along.
No, but I genuinely mean they didn't really have lives before we were born because they were really young when they got married and had kids. So they didn't have lives before we were born. So I was actually being honest.
What? So
and they don't have lives afterwards.
And then just kind of made children.
Yeah, well, that's what they did. They were Bengali. Yeah. And they married young. That's what they do. Yeah. They get married young, have children. It's only now that you can wait without people. Actually, no, people still... Yeah. Like, we should do a whole episode on, the Bengali community in England. And how they gossip.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm well-liked, and to be honest, they've got a fair point, but I don't want to be well-liked, because I don't want anyone suggesting I marry their son.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. Anyway, the disappearance of Richey Edwards.
Yeah, get ready for a real good laugh here.
It's going to be so depressing. We're talking about a guy with clinical depression.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about a guy who slit his arm.
He used to self-harm a lot. But should we talk about why people would know of him first, before we get into who he is?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Should I do it?
Oh, yeah, because you're a fan, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, I don't mind the music. So
you know nothing about them?
I'm not like a super fan. I'm not. I know the general gist of them.
I don't think anyone is really a super fan of them anymore.
I don't know. They've
got fans, but super fans.
I don't know. They're actually probably bigger now than they were. Well, I don't know.
Just because you're more famous doesn't mean that your fans are more dedicated.
I think they were at the time when he was around.
I think that was the high point of their success was when he was around. I say we've not actually mentioned who we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, Richey Edwards, he was part of a band called the Manic Street Preachers, which I don't know how exactly you describe them.
They started off as like a punk band, and then they became a rock band, and then at some point they were grunge, and then they went back to being rock. I think that's how they described. So basically, they don't have a genre; they just go with the flow and whatever trends are going on at that moment in time. Because I think after Richey disappeared, they lost their way anyway.
Well, not really. They're still quite big.
No, they're big, but they lost their point.
I don't know about that.
Everyone can have differing appearances, opinions on it. But anyway, go on, carry on talking about Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah. Anyway, they were like quite a big band in like the early 90s. Kind of like they're quite like left wing as well. Yeah,
they're a band of the people. They were anyway. I don't know if they are now.
Certainly, like they've still got kind of that side to it.
I haven't actually listened to a lot of them new stuff. Like the last song that I know of theirs is the "Your Love Alone Is Not Enough, Not Enough, Not Enough" with the Cardigans.
Yeah,
that's like the last one that I'm aware of. I don't really pay attention to any music, so I
kind of know a little bit about them, but not a huge amount. They're from Wales. Like the mining community was there, and so there's quite a well-defined working class kind of identity there. And they try and, particularly in the early years, I think they put that into the kind of music as well.
Yeah.
So that was kind of part of like the lyrics. Politics was a part of it, but there was also like alienation and stuff like that.
Yeah. So a lot of the topics in their songs were like youth of their day, capitalism and consumerism and economy and finance, because they had a song about banks, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the name of the song had some banks in it or something like that. I'm not quite sure. One of them.
Yeah, and so it was generally like about boredom as well, because they came from a place called Blackwood in Wales, and as like while I think they probably love the place, it's like whenever you're kind of young, you tend to find the place you live quite boring. I think.
Do you feel that way, though? Because Leicester, I'm sure you love it because you live there, but wouldn't it get really boring, like, all the time?
I think particularly where they come from, I think, as well, it's more kind of like a village almost. Well, it's a town. It's like a small town, I think. It can be quite isolated there, I think. Just a bit...
Like
Leicester.
What I mean?
Well, Leicester's a city, so it's got...
But you said that it takes you forever to go to anywhere because of buses.
Yes, because buses are useless. When the buses work all right, you can get anywhere reasonably quickly.
Okay, then. Fair enough.
It's just the buses don't work half the time, so... I mean, obviously, Leicester's not as exciting as London.
Oh, I know that.
But it's all right. I mean, where my sister lives is worse.
Where'd she live?
She lives at a place near, like, Mansfield. It's like a... Well, I don't even...
I like how you say near Mansfield, like I know where that is.
Well, what you have to know about Mansfield is it's worse than Leicester. It's a town, and there's literally fuck all there, basically. There's, like, a few shops, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
It's meant to be a relatively important place there. It's just that kind of area is just rubbish.
Yeah.
And you realise, like, what you got in Leicester is actually quite good comparatively.
Okay, I shouldn't have set you off. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, the Manic Street Preachers, right?
Yeah.
So they formed in 1986. They met at a comprehensive school.
Yeah.
So isn't that like a private school?
No, comprehensive is what we all went to.
Oh, so a state school.
Yeah, it's a state school.
Okay. What do they call the private schools then? Independents?
Public public schools.
Okay, public schools.
Which is really
I
odd.
never understood, because that's what's confusing me,
Yeah.
because public schools, wouldn't that mean the public goes there?
That's what gets me. It's always confused me.
And then comprehensive is a fancy name, so I just assumed that that was a posh school. So I always got confused between the two.
It's odd that. I don't get.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Anyway.
So yeah, they come from like, I suppose it's to be celebrated. They come from like, compared to like Coldplay and that kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
They come from like a relatively humble background, and have we gone on about the working class stuff enough yet?
I think we have, because I've been trying to move away from it by saying they formed in 1986, but you kept going on about them being working class.
Well, let's go to Richey Edwards then, and
he joined the band.
He wasn't actually an original member.
No, he joined after they'd actually released their first single, so in 1988. And originally he was their roadie and he did their artwork.
Yeah, but he'd go on to kind of, I think, while he was there, it was only a short period. I think, was he there for like one album or something? Or maybe...
No, I think he was there for two. And they released other albums after that featured his music, as in his lyrics.
Oh, actually, I think it was with 3 albums.
Was it 3? No, I think one of them was released in 1997, so I think that was posthumous.
No, there's Generation Terrorist. As if
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
Gold Against the Soul and the Holy Bible.
Yeah.
That's all he said.
Yeah, that was while he was alive, and then some stuff came afterwards.
Yeah, and the one in 96 was after he died.
And then the one in 2009, clearly after he died.
Yeah, that was just his lyrics, though.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I read.
Yeah, it was his lyrics.
He's quite an intelligent guy, actually.
Yeah, but what I found funny about this, apparently he wasn't actually that much of a musician. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was more like the lyrics were the big side for him.
Yeah.
I think.
But at least he did that, because you've got musicians nowadays that aren't musicians or do lyrics.
Yeah.
You've got Britney, who like mimes and dances her way around the stage to lyrics that she doesn't even sing or write. So at least he's got some talent.
At least she gets a good exercise, though. I mean, that's got to be something.
She gets good exercise because her family have her drugged up.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't just get over being insane, that's all I'm saying. Sorry,
hey, keep it light, Carmen.
So basically, this is
Cheerful
the episode
podcast.
where we bitch about musicians.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't bitching about Britney. All I'm saying is she's insane, and that's true.
You're going to have to put a smiley face next to this one, aren't we?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, he had like his interests kind of was like literature. Actually, all of them were kind of quite inspired by literature. Like they...
But I feel like songwriting and being a musician is sort of like literature. You're writing a story in words and music.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they kind of say, like, some, like, great, like, lyricists or, like, songwriters like Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
People debate whether it's poetry or not, but, like, some people really think it is.
I feel like good music, not just all music, because, like, Call Me Maybe and shit, that's not poetry. I feel like good music is poetry.
Yeah.
Because it has rhythm, it has rhyme, which is one of the signifiers of poetry, and tells a complete story. So I think arts, it's very easy to be in one section of the arts industry and be influenced by all the others.
I think people look down on, like, kind of pop music and stuff like that, though, and say...
Depends on the music, because I'm not like. Come on, we both know music now, especially nowadays, is awful. Yeah. Like most mainstream music, the one that's overplayed and produced to death, and there's no originality in it, and there's nothing behind the voice or the lyrics or anything like that. It's shit. But then you have the odd musician that is actually very good.
Yeah, like Michael Bublé.
Yeah, I love Michael Bublé.
Even that he has done a little bit of songwriting.
No, he does do songwriting, because he does a lot of covers, but the main ones singles that he's released that have been popular, he wrote. Like he wrote Home, he wrote Haven't Met You Yet, and I think they're his biggest releases, right? His biggest original songs.
Yeah.
That weren't covers. Yeah. So I think, he does write songs. I think he probably has help writing them, but he does write them. So yeah, even Michael Bublé. I was actually thinking more along the lines of Ed Sheeran because he's amazing and I love him.
and ginger.
But he
That's
is
not
an
a problem.
artist.
It's not a problem, though. It's not a problem that he's ginger. Just-
The thing is, I fell in love with Ed Sheeran before I'd even seen him. Because I started listening to his music really late. A while after he came out. Because, again, like listeners hadn't noticed, I don't pay attention to music. So I hadn't heard him straight away. I don't listen to the radio or anything like that. So I heard him a lot later. So I started listening to his music and I really, really, really liked it. And then I saw him and I'm just like looking at the picture and like listening to the song. I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
Really? And then I'm just like, I'm totally okay with this right now.
Yeah, I just like people say that modern music shit and stuff like that, but I think it's just where you look. If you're going to look in the obvious place, like the charts, and obviously you can find shit music there. If you search around a bit, you'll find good music. It's like films as well.
It's just the most mainstream ones.
Yeah.
It genuinely is. Mainstream music is shit. I want to say not all of it, but it seems like all the mainstream music and all the stuff in the charts is shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason for them being there. There's no point.
Yeah.
Maybe they can play that music in a club and people can dance to it. But other than that, there is no point. It's not like I'm going to sit there listening to the music because it has deep and meaningful lyrics, or the guitar solos are amazing, or the music played in it. So the instrumentals are brilliant. But it's not going to be quality music. It's just popular music.
Yeah, I still think they're the fuss over like people like Adele and Sam
I
Smith.
think she's got a really, really good voice. She has a really, really good voice. Her lyrics are really, really depressing.
Yeah.
So I think for Adele, I think she is like the voice of every girl that's ever had her heart broken.
Yeah.
I think that's why she is so popular. And her voice is unique.
Yeah.
And she's working class. So she's identifiable. She's not a pampered princess that's had everything handed to her. She's worked for everything she's done as well.
Yeah,
so
I still listen to it though. I'm not moved by it that much.
It's not like I have her albums or anything. I like the singles and stuff because I've heard them. Yeah. But I don't go gaga over her either. So, but I understand the appeal of her, whereas I don't understand the appeal of. I wouldn't know because I don't pay attention to the charts or listen to the radio.
The one I hate, the
Grande girl. People think she's amazing because she could do that thing with her voice. She has no control over it. Like, seriously, I've heard that song that she did with Jessie J. She has no control over her own voice. She could be good, but she's not. Just because she could do that doesn't mean she's good. She can't. She doesn't know how to use it. She's just doing it for the sake of doing it. Anyone can go, She just goes on, and it's just like, why are you doing this? You have to have a point.
See, the song that I hate at the moment that they keep playing all the time is the new James Bond theme.
Oh, is that the Sam Smith song? I haven't heard it.
Keep playing it though.
No, I heard it's awful, but I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
At least I don't think I've heard it. Again, I'm probably the wrong person to be doing this topic, this episode, aren't I? Know nothing about music. I do know the Manic Street Preachers, though.
Yeah. God, we are going to have to get back to them at some point.
That was my segue.
Yeah.
After ranting about music. That was an episode. That's a topic for another day, but I think the moment we do that topic, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah. And like a lot of musicians, actually, or lyricists, like he's kind of inspired by a poet called Arthur Rimbaud. Rimbaud, I think.
I thought you were going to say rim job, and I was just like, yeah.
Yeah. So he even wore like clothing with quotes of his on like that, because people like Patti Smith and the kind of greats are all inspired by him. Like, he was a big influence on like the 60s musicians and all those kind of great ones. And like in general, he's just inspired by the poets and Dostoevsky and Camus and people like that.
Yeah. So he was driving the artistic direction of the band.
Yeah.
But his drive was short-lived, if you hadn't realised, listeners.
Yeah.
So the Manic Street Preachers, they still exist. They're around today. But there's a possibility that Richey Edwards is not. Because in 1995, so in the band's sort of heyday, that's when they were emerging. They emerged I think they started to become popular in 1992.
Yeah.
1992, I think that's where they released their first album, Generation Terrorists.
Yeah.
So he was only around for 3 years of their success, and then they sort of changed up their music a bit. There was a massive departure, I think, wasn't there?
What?
Their music changed. They didn't have a point. They didn't have a focus. They lost a lot of fans, I read.
Yeah. I don't know. They're still quite popular.
No, they're popular.
So-
It's just, it's not as it was.
Yeah, maybe.
Because after their
yeah.
first album, they had like a massive fan base and they were rabid. They became like a cult band.
Yeah.
They were like the One Direction of rock, I guess.
I think that's a bit harsh.
One Direction of rock. Not One Direction.
Yeah, but they actually had
Fan-wise.
quality, and they actually the lyrics. were actually-
Fan-wise.
Still, no, I'm not having that. The One Direction. God, it's offensive to you.
Again, I know
You
nothing
go
about
up to them
popular
and you
music. That is the one
apologise.
band I know. And do you want to know why I know it? Fuck you, Lana. Fuck you.
Oh,
That's why I
God.
know who One Direction are.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah.
But they had like a massive rabid fan base when they had released their first album. And then I think after they lost Richey Edwards, I think it sort of, their music changed because they didn't have, he was the main drive behind it. He was the one that wrote all the political lyrics. So when they lost that, their fans became polarised. I mean, sure, they still had fans, it's just they lost quite a few. Or
See, I disagree, because the first album that they did without him still had like the political stuff and stuff like that, and that wasn't written by him either. So I
don't know.
I disagree.
I don't know. I was about 3 or 4 at this point,
Yeah.
so I don't actually remember. This is what I've read, and that's what I interpret.
Obviously, I didn't remember it,
Yeah.
do I? was
This is what
5
I've
at the
read,
time,
and that's
you
what I
twat.
interpret from there. Is that they had after he died, or along in further albums, the music changed, and it was polarised by the. How many times have I said polarised?
Yeah.
Some fans didn't like it. Some fans did.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think these are even really that important. But what I'd say is, any band that exists for a certain amount of time is going to change over time.
That's true.
And that's just what happens. And that's
But
why.
could you
people
imagine how much
kind of-
this band changed if their main lyricist disappeared?
Yeah.
So they would have changed a fair bit, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I mean, like they kind of in a way they existed before and after him. So
I
so
guess. but-
I think some people can
yeah,
think
they existed,
overstate
but they
his
weren't successful.
influence.
I don't know what the music was like before he came about, and they didn't exist that long without him. I mean, before he joined, not afterwards. Obviously, they're still around.
Yeah.
But they formed in 1986, and he joined in 1988.
Yeah.
That's only 2 years.
Yeah. But they
It's
still
a short amount of
existed.
time, and he knew them beforehand.
Yeah.
He was their roadie. He did their artwork for them. Again, he did have some sort of artistic input in their band.
Yeah. So obviously he was there and on the sidelines.
But obviously they felt strongly enough to invite him to be a part of the band, even though he wasn't really that much of a
Yeah.
musician. So I think he
Yeah.
did influence them even before he joined the band.
Yeah. I wouldn't deny that he was like a very kind of defining part of that time in the band.
Do you think they would have been this successful without him?
Oh, it's a hard one.
He's their main songwriter, and he wrote 80% of what was it? The Holy
Yeah.
Bible. He wrote a lot of the music that made them successful. So
Yeah.
I don't think if they didn't have him, I don't think they would be successful or as successful as they are now.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's the early years of the band, so you can never really tell.
No, but they're the most formative years. That's where they find their sound. It's
Not
like a
always,
person's
though.
childhood
Yeah.
molds them for life.
Yeah,
So the beginnings of anything mold you for life, mold something for life.
yeah.
But anyway, I think possibly we should actually get on to
It's actual.
to the point of this podcast. We were talking
No
about
wonder he
musicians that
fucking
didn't have a point.
disappeared.
How ironic is that? We were
Yeah.
talking about music that didn't have a point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as we've mentioned about 50 fucking times, he was only part of the band for a short while, because on the 1st of February 1995, he disappeared.
He did.
He did. He disappeared.
Yeah.
That was just me turning my page. So at the time, at the actual date, the 1st of Feb, he was actually supposed to be going off to the US to do some promo work,
Yeah.
and he didn't show. So he'd actually, I think was it about 7 o'clock, 7 a.m? Or sometime in the early hours of the morning, he drove from London to Cardiff.
He was apparently spotted at some point around a passport office in Newport.
That was a few days afterwards, though, I think.
What was it? Oh.
I think that was on the... that was the 7th, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's one... Because...
From the taxi driver, are you going to say?
Yeah, because he was meant to be... Because he'd gone to a hotel at some point, hadn't he, with one of the band members.
That was it, while he was still in London.
Yeah.
That was when they were still in London. He drove from that hotel to Cardiff.
A point I was going to make was the band member had gone down to kind of see if he was there and found he'd all just disappeared.
Yeah, because he left in the early hours of the morning. So they must have been planning to leave later.
So that's the last time you've seen by like a band member or anything like that?
Well, he wasn't seen, but that was the last time. That was the first time his disappearance was noted.
Yeah.
So after that, he did drive from London to Cardiff, and no one spotted him until about the 7th of February, where he was actually given a taxi ride. Oh, one thing that we forgot to say, probably quite relevant. In the couple of weeks leading up to his disappearance, he'd withdrawn a total of £2,800 out of his bank account, which could be deemed suspicious. Probably should have mentioned that before. But, yeah. As I was saying, on the 7th of February, so a few days after he disappeared, he did get a taxi ride. I don't know if it's a taxi driver that came out and said it. He must have done.
Yeah, he did in a documentary,
yeah. Yeah, so the taxi driver, he took him to go see his old home, or where he grew up.
Oh, I would point, this is supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. But then again, we've spoken about documentaries before.
Yeah.
And how people say stuff or find evidence to support their theory or or make a narrative storyline that they think is appealing. So, reportedly, took him to go see his childhood home, and there was a £68 fare. I don't know why that's relevant. I don't know why that was written down, but it is.
Well, it's reasonably a lot of money.
It is. So he must have taken him a fair... Well, it must have taken him around a bit.
From the documentary I was watching, he went to like 2 or 3 other places as well. That were kind of important to him or something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, he could be going to see these places for the last time because he's going away, or, something more sinister is about to occur.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
On the 17th of February, so 17 days after he's disappeared, his Vauxhall Cavalier, that's it. Cavalier was abandoned at Seven View service station. So I think that's like just a petrol station, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like service station kind of thing.
What's a service station?
It's like motorway services. So you'll have
so they have like a cafe and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay then. I don't travel a lot. And usually when I travel a fair distance, I take a train.
Oh, it's the whole new world for you, Tarman.
No, but I take a train because it's further distance and it's quicker to get on a train, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you don't have a car, so
that's
the only
also
reason you tend to go to a service station,
that's also very true. That's also very true. But even if I had a car, I would not be driving to Paris. Probably still take a train.
Yeah, true.
Because at some point I'm going to need to pee.
Yeah, thanks for that.
No problem.
That's what service stations are for, though, if you are in a car, because service stations have toilets.
Yeah, but trains are quicker, and
get to the
that
toilet.
way I can but that way I can avoid the toilet.
Yeah, I don't know about trains being quicker in this country, though, sometimes.
Oh, I don't mean the South West trains.
Yeah.
But then, although the train to Waterloo from my station is fairly quick.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about that. And frequent. Anyway.
It's important to mention that this service station is in quite close proximity to the Severn Bridge. Well, I'm getting there first.
Alright, so the Severn Bridge is a suicide bridge. But I think all bridges are suicide bridges. Don't you? It seems like all bridges are suicide bridges.
Yeah. I mean, most bridges, there's the potential for someone to jump off.
Yeah, and most bridges someone's jumped off. Like, suicide bridges are everywhere. I went to college near a suicide bridge. I filmed something on there. I filmed someone committing suicide.
You filmed someone committing suicide?
Well, not actual suicide. It was part of a film project. So they were pretending to... It was acting.
Oh.
But it was a funny night. because there were spikes
Funny,
on...
was it?
No. There were spikes on the actual bridge. So she had to step off, and then she didn't realise, the person that was jumping off, she didn't realise. So the spike went through her foot, and we had to go to A&E.
Really?
We got seen really quickly as well. On a Friday night, we got seen ridiculously quickly. We signed in, sat down, and he called her in.
Generally, she had to go to A&E?
Yeah. Why would I lie about this?
I don't know.
Yeah, because they had to check if she'd had her tetanus and shit as well, and patch her up, because the spike went through her foot.
What an idiot.
Yeah, we're not friends anymore.
Foot through a spike.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Suicide bridge. So, yeah, the implication is that he could possibly have jumped off the bridge.
Yeah. Considering, like, his reported, like, mental...
Oh, yeah, we didn't
state.
even mention that he went to the Priory Clinic.
Yeah. And
He
the
went
fact
to
that
the
he
Priory
had a
Clinic
history of-
about... It wasn't even that long before he jumped.
Yeah.
It was the year before.
Yeah. And the fact that he had a, like, history of depression and...
Yeah, and he used to self-harm a lot. Like, he
Yeah.
put cigarette butts out in his hand. And I tell you, that must be excruciating. Because once I had a bit of ash that was still on fire. You know, the little cherry things that pop off. That whenever that hits my arm, that kills.
Yeah.
So, actually, someone putting a cigarette out on my hand, I'd probably cry like a little girl. So, yeah. And he'd even carve things into... Yeah, you mentioned it before, I think. He carved things into his hands,
This was in an interview with someone as well.
When someone was questioning his artistic integrity,
Yeah.
he decided to carve in his hand for real.
Yeah.
It seems a bit too try-hard for me, to be honest.
Yeah. It seems, like, harsh to say it sometimes, but it just seemed a bit attention-seeking.
Yeah.
I don't like to say that sometimes, but that's what it looks like to me.
So, the issue with the suicide theory is, people that actually knew him said that he'd never do it. He himself, in an interview, said that he's a weak person, that he would never be weak enough to commit suicide. You can take that with a grain of salt because of his mental issues.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who'd say that kind of thing, but deep down...
Yeah, deep down, you're not going to say, oh, yeah, I think about killing myself every day in an interview, are you?
At that time in his life, that might have been true, but later on...
Yeah, because people that have depression, they're not always depressed. They have bouts of it. Like, sometimes they have good days, sometimes they have incredibly bad days. Who knows, this might have been a good day.
Yeah.
And the day that he allegedly, quite possibly have jumped off the bridge could have been his worst day.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you go.
I was going to say, he did seem to kind of struggle a little bit with the fame.
That's what I was going to bring up. I would totally understand him committing suicide because he had the mental issues anyway. A lot of his songs were about consumerism and capitalism and everything like that. But he himself was becoming a product. He is becoming something that he's been working to fight against. And isn't that the most depressing thing in the world?
Yeah.
Realising you've sold out. He already had his demons, and now he's realised he's his own enemy.
I was going to make a point kind of relating a bit to like the fan worship kind of podcast we did, that you kind of get like this like intense following, these kind of people.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that they tend to define you rather than you define them. So that you kind of become their property almost. They'll take what you say and stuff like that and follow it. But in a way, they start to they have that image of you. They tend to create that rather than you create it.
Yeah, and I think...
That's what I think.
Yeah. I think back when, in his heyday, people did idolise him.
Yeah.
Because he was outspoken. He spoke about the issues in his life. He spoke about the issues of the world. So people idolised him.
Yeah. He was very honest, but also the way I think he did it as well was, someone said he was like very humble. He wasn't like always attention-seeking. Like when he cut his arm, he could do it with like.
Yeah, but I think he had bouts of that. Even as a child, I think he said himself that he was incredibly attention-seeking.
Yeah.
Like he would dress up in extravagant clothing or something like that.
But in general, I think people related to him because he actually talked about these things. People like that about him, I think.
Yeah, people do like honesty.
Yeah.
I know this is going to be shocking to anyone in the entertainment industry because they think that we just like the perfect person to be, that we just like people being perfect and not having any flaws whatsoever and having the perfect life, the perfect wife, whoever. But the truth is, the general public aren't perfect.
Yeah.
And we look for people that are like us, someone that we can relate
Yeah.
to, someone that is a flawed human being.
And he's very flawed.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So PR companies take note.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit about who's dating who and how they
Yeah.
make, like, Barbie and Ken look like, I don't know, a really shit couple, I guess. But yeah, we don't care. The more real the person, the more people are into them.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about all the celebrities that have, like, fans everywhere, or, like, the most rabid fan base, aren't they the ones that at least seem, it could all be an act, we don't know, that at least seem humble and down to earth?
Yeah, I think so. I mean...
Because they seem like the everyman type figure.
Yeah. It's a strange one, because, like, you get some, like, rock stars, like...
I meant, like, modern-day celebrities. I don't mean some people that have been around since the 80s, because, of course, they're going to have rabid fan base. They've been around since the 80s. They accumulate more and more fans as the years go on.
Yeah, but I was thinking, like, in terms of, like, troubled people.
Oh, troubled ones.
I feel like some of them, they do, like, the drink and drugs just because that's part of the fame and stuff like that. And that just kind of defines them in a way.
They do the
Whereas-
drink and drugging because no one says no to them. It's not just about the fame, it's just that it's being offered
Yeah.
freely, so it's just there.
Yeah.
It's like when someone puts a bowl of Doritos in front of you and you know you're on a diet, or you know it's bad for you so you can't eat it, or you had a packet of crisps yesterday. You're going to eat it because it's there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing,
I
but
guess.
with illegal substances.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're just saying cocaine's like crisps.
Yeah, pretty much. They're both addictive.
Good
I
point.
mean, one's a bit more dangerous.
Yeah.
I'd say Doritos because it kills you slower.
God, if you get one of those stuck, that's got to be painful.
Oh,
But
God.
if you swallow one whole, that goes.
No, I've
that
never
gets
swallowed
stuck.
one whole.
I'm not saying you had, but I was saying if you did, that's not a good way to go.
Okay. Anyway.
But you would look complete. I mean, how rebellious would that be?
What's dying from...
Choking on a Dorito.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
I understand why he'd commit suicide. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Because he became all the things that he didn't like about the world.
I just wanted to mention one other thing as well. He was a big fan of a singer called Ian Curtis, who was a member of the band Joy Division, and he committed suicide in, I think it's the early 80s or something like that. And the reason why everyone who knew him said the reason why he committed suicide was because he'd got the fame, he'd achieved that, and that's all he really wanted. So he didn't really want anything after that. He didn't want the money or stuff like that. And so it felt like he'd achieved what he'd wanted, and so he didn't have any other reason to live. So,
Well,
that
that's
could be
like a
part
lot of
it, I think.
musicians, really.
Yeah,
That's probably why they become self-destructive.
yeah. My
Yeah.
point about like this Ian Curtis, it wasn't that he couldn't handle the fame. It was more that he got the fame and it didn't really satisfy him.
Yeah, because it's not always what you think it is. Because you think it's, I'm going to be doing something I love for the rest of my life, and people are going to adore me. But everything that
Yeah.
comes with it. Because I don't think when Richey joined the band, he thought he'd be having to do promotional duties all around the world in the US.
Yeah,
I think he thought he's just going to play music that he writes that serves a purpose in life and becomes a commentary of the
Yeah.
world. So he probably didn't have any understanding of everything else that would come with
Yeah.
being a musician.
I think he did actually say, he said in one interview that he only ever really probably actually wanted to make one album, and it'd be like the best album ever, and then he wouldn't need to make another album.
Yeah, I understand that. Because I used to think when I was younger, like, clearly this would never happen, but if I was a musician, but I'm not in any way at all talented in music at all. I can't sing, I can't play instruments, I
Yeah.
can't do anything. But when I was younger, I thought, it would be nice to be a musician. But what I'll
Yeah.
do is write and record songs for my whole lifetime and release it after I've died.
Yeah.
That's it. So I have one perfect album that's like encapsulates my whole life and all the experience I've been through. But I don't have to deal with all the shit.
Yeah,
Because even as a kid, I realised how shit fame would be.
yeah. I remember wanting to be in a band when I was a teenager. Yeah,
I don't think I ever wanted to be in a band,
But
but
then I realised I had no musical talent whatsoever.
yeah,
And so I had to give up
I
on that.
always knew I didn't have musical talent.
I can't even play the recorder that well.
Oh no, I can play the recorder. I mean, I haven't played it in years, so I probably I've forgotten. but when I played it, I could play that pretty well. I mean, I haven't played the piano in years either.
To be honest, I actually struggled to keep in timing with the triangle as well. That's what I do.
When I had to play a more complicated tune on the piano, I'd write the keys in a black marker pen, like a whiteboard pen, so I could wipe it off afterwards. But like Catch a Falling Star and all that simple stuff I could do. Yeah. But anything more complicated, I'd have to write on the keys what they were. So basically, we're both shit at music. Yeah. Which again, why are we doing this episode? Well, it's more about
just crushing ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shit. Anyway, me and Matt both find it every bit possible that he committed suicide because of the situation he was in, which is what I keep trying to say, Matt, and you keep fucking me over because I'm trying to move on to the next bit because it's been over an hour.
I'm not fucking you over at all.
Huh?
I'm making good points.
I know, but it's over an hour. We need to move along.
Well, you shouldn't have gone on about bloody modern pop stars for so long.
I couldn't help it.
You go off on your rants and then you wonder why it's an hour.
Anyway, so we find it every bit as reasonable. We think that there's a reason that he would commit suicide. His life. It was awful at that time.
Yeah. Also, it's very fatalistic as well.
Fucking hell, Matt.
That's a point. His dog had recently died as well, Rich. And he's someone, you clearly kind of felt...
I've had 8 goldfish die on me. I didn't want to kill myself.
Dogs are different, though.
Yeah, if you say so.
You connect with dogs the way you don't with goldfish.
I wouldn't because I'm allergic, so I can't actually be in the presence of one for too long.
What, a dog?
Yeah, I'm allergic to everything.
I'm
allergic to cats as well, but I don't like cats. Cats are just, like, they just stare at you. I remember once I left my bedroom window open and a cat just decided to poke his head in and I was like, what are you doing? Just what are you doing? It's 3 a.m, go away. I can't battle. If you come into my room, there's nothing I can do about it because you'll scratch me and you're going to shed hair all over my shit.
Not all cats are like that.
Yeah, but it will shed hair.
Possibly.
In my room that I live in.
Yeah. So what do you do to it then?
Nothing. It didn't come in the end. I shooed it away.
No. That's fascinating. To add to the hour. Well,
anyway, so he could have committed suicide, but there's also a theory that he didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's taken me 20 minutes to say that, but I finally said it.
Well, you said it.
Yeah, I said it.
So tell us more. Okay,
so he withdrew £2,800. That's a lot of money. And that was about, 2 weeks from his disappearance, so about a month, just over a month after the abandoned car was found. That's a lot of money for someone that's just planning to go off, visit the places that he's fond of, and then commit suicide. He wouldn't need that much to live off for a month.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as though he was trying to keep a low profile. He's not going to go out and be a big spender. That's the type of money you take out to start a new life somewhere.
Yeah.
To pay for plane tickets and then a couple of months' rent. Or pay for a car and then some money for somewhere to stay and some food. That's not the type of money someone that's about to commit suicide withdraws from their bank account. That's a lot of money.
If you're going to commit suicide, I don't know where you'd withdraw that amount.
Another thing is, there have been sightings. I don't know how conclusive they are. Probably not conclusive at all. But there have been reported sightings of him in loads of different places, like Lanzarote. I was about to say Venezuela for some reason. Lanzarote in India, as well as a whole host of other places people have claimed to see him. But then again, it could have just been people that look like him, or they could just be saying it to get attention. So you don't actually know.
But I tend to think that's what it's most likely, attention.
I just think it's some people just think they've seen them. Like, could look a bit like the guy.
Yeah.
But then he's not a unique-looking guy.
Not really. Well, not at that time as well.
I understand him... actually, how big were Manic Street Preachers in India? Lanzarote I could probably get because a lot of youthful people go there to party and stuff. Yeah. So they'll... Especially from Britain...
Yeah.
So they probably would be familiar with Manic Street Preachers, but how big were they in India? I don't think the Indians would take to them too well.
Yeah, imagine Indians.
Or was it a British person that went on holiday to India and said, "Oh, I saw Richey"?
The thing about Goa or India is that I can imagine it's the kind of place, India's the kind of place you go if you're like got some kind of crisis in your life.
Yeah, but if he's trying to keep a low profile, he's a white he's a Welsh,
Yeah.
white Welsh man in India.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna stand out.
Yeah.
Like, if I went to India and I saw a Welsh white man that looked like him, I was like, aren't you the guy that's supposed to be dead?
Yeah.
Like, if he went to India, I don't know how he would get away with pretending to be dead if he was in India.
My trouble with like this as well, if you're trying to disappear, you try and change your appearance somehow.
That is true. That's
you wouldn't go
also
out there
true.
looking how he did. I'm always certain of that. So
Yeah, you wouldn't.
How they noticed him, I'm not sure. If he was still the same as he was, as he like left.
Yeah, and did they actually talk to him? Cause, I mean, he's not going to get rid of his Welsh accent, is he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they talk to him.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I just think it's very hard to disappear abroad in a way. I'm pretty sure someone would have noticed him going abroad.
Especially, well, to be fair, the police, they didn't really prioritise his disappearance.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of a big deal would have been him travelling. Because that was, the 17th was when his Vauxhall Cavalier was found. Doesn't mean that was the day that he disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, he was spotted 10 days before that. Who knows? According to this taxi driver, he was doing like his highlights of Wales on this day. So that could have been his last day. He could have left the day afterwards. So people weren't going to be looking out for him.
Still, I'd still feel there'd be some kind of record.
Possibly. I mean, how good were records? I know they've gotten better airport records and flight records. They've gotten better since 9/11, but how good were they in 1994?
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure how big CCTV was back then.
And how do we know that he went by plane? I mean, he could have gone by boat. He could have gone by car.
Yeah. I was just going on the theory, like, if he was buying plane tickets and stuff like that, I just feel...
He could have bought a fake passport. Maybe he did change his appearance before he left.
Yeah, he definitely changed his appearance. And how would you be able to notice him, I feel, unless you actually knew him really well, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the only way you could notice him.
Yeah, and I doubt these people knew him really well.
No, they wouldn't have known him personally unless they were family members or close friends.
Yeah.
They're people that want him to be alive, I guess.
Yeah, because there's all these like sightings abroad. I think it's much more likely that if he is still alive, he'd be somewhere in the UK. I think personally.
I like to think that he's still alive, just because he took out that money, so I don't think he intended to die.
Yeah.
And he didn't seem happy with his life. I like to think that he decided to give up on his life and start anew. So I want him to be alive.
Yeah, cause it was actually interesting. The documentary I was watching that said he was like interested in doing like the perfect disappearance, and someone said actually that if he is still alive, he hopes he doesn't decide to like come back and reveal himself, because in that way he clearly wanted to get away from like the world and the fame and stuff like that.
I understand that, because sometimes I want to get away from the world and I'm not even famous.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit cruel on his family. That's all.
Yeah.
If that is the case.
But
if he's still alive, I think you're being a bit dickish to your family.
Yeah, but we don't know what his family relations are like, do we?
Well, they seem nice enough. His sister seems pretty upset that he's gone missing.
I guess. But then that doesn't make a difference. Like, you can love family, but you don't have to like them. They don't have to... Because you hear about these families that do heinous things, or, like, a serial killer, but his parents still love him.
Yeah.
And hate him at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, with I'm not saying his family are horrible, but we don't know what happened in that household growing up. We don't know if he had a happier childhood.
Yeah.
All we know is that he was depressed, and he'd been cutting himself for several years.
Yeah.
And he was angry at the world.
It's still a bit harsh on his family, though.
Yeah. I think that if you're alive, I'm happy that you got away. I'm hoping... So, you're definitely listening to this, Richie. So, if you are alive, I'm happy that you started afresh and you managed to get away from a life that you clearly didn't like.
Yeah.
And you got to do what you want. You got to make your perfect album and then leave.
Yeah. Well,
Although what?
I'm going to say, personally, I think he's dead, though.
Yeah, I do too. I don't want him to be dead. I mean, the £2,800... I like to think that that's a sign of him still being alive, but that is the only sign that he could. That's the only reason that he could probably be alive. But I don't know. He could have easily just given that to charity. That could have been all the money he had. We don't know.
Yeah.
And he decided he's going to give it away before he dies, because after he dies, I don't know if you know about this, listeners, there's this thing called inheritance tax. So when your parents die and leave you their goods, you're going to have to deal with the government taking your money.
Yeah. I have to deal with that.
Yeah, I know. It's a bullshit tax.
Yeah.
Why should we pay inheritance tax? That is not anything to do with the government. Your families or whoever is leaving you the inheritance have already paid tax on that money when they earned it.
Yeah. I just like, you get taxed because your parents have the temerity to die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit harsh, isn't it?
So basically, if I know that I'm going to die, like, before I die, I'm going to be signing over all my assets to people.
Yeah.
So they don't have to pay inheritance tax. So yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's why he took out the money. I'm going back on point because I realise how long this is. I'm going back on point. So maybe that's real. That's why. Maybe he took out all the money. That could be every penny he has to give it to someone before he killed himself.
Yeah. Oh, so you're actually quite a nice person.
Who, me?
Yeah.
People can't know this, Matt. People can't know this.
I'm just going to make one more point about him as well.
Okay.
He happened to be 27 when he died.
Oh, I was going to make that point.
Quite an important age for like rock musicians dying, because like Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, who'd only
Amy
died.
Winehouse.
Yeah, Amy Winehouse. Who
There's
else?
a lot.
The thing
is, there's not an excessive amount. It just happens to be that age. There are plenty of people that die at other ages as well.
Yeah, it just happens to have happened enough, and to the bigger, like the more talented ones.
No, but I think it's also because they're still fairly young at 27. So people make a point of remembering that number. Like, if someone died, if there's like 10 people that died at the age of 50, no one's actually going to... Well, people are going to care, but that's middle age. 27, that's their youth, that's their prime. So, yeah. So there is speculation that it could be part of the 27 club curse.
Yeah, so it could have been that.
Could have been.
It could, if he'd like, I think there's an idea that you might, some people do it deliberately sometimes. That they want to be, like, die at 27. They want to die young, some people. Some of those, like, rock musicians, it's part of the whole fame side of it.
Possibly. Possibly they know that they've peaked, or they know that they've done the best work they're going to do.
Yeah.
Like, especially musicians. They spend their whole life working on their first album, and then they have to shit out a second and a third one.
Yeah.
Because it's part of their record deal. So, yeah, I don't think I could be a musician, even if I was any way musically talented.
Probably not all it's cracked up to be in some ways.
No, I think...
But you'd still love to write great songs, though.
I'd like to be talented, musically talented. No, I like any sort of musical talent whatsoever, but I wouldn't want to be a famous musician. I would keep it to myself, probably, and go busking on the streets of London or something like that.
To be honest, I'd like to be talented in general.
That's also a very good point.
It'd be great help.
You know what we are good at?
What?
Talking for over an hour about something that we have no clue about. Because we literally didn't do any research on this. We decided to do it about, 20 minutes, half an hour before we recorded.
I still think, I don't even know that much about the band.
Me? I actually, because you wanted to do the section of the band, I actually have like a shit ton of notes on the band, but you wanted to do it. So I let you do it.
I didn't say I just wanted to do it. I just said...
You said you'll do it, and I was like, oh, okay then.
I didn't think we needed to go on about them that much.
Yeah, but you ended up going on about them that much. It took you forever to make the working class point. Anyway, so...
I just wanted to drive it home.
Okay, anyway, so listeners, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
So, basically, this guy disappeared, right?
And they haven't found him.
And they haven't found him. Oh, we forgot one point. He was declared dead.
Oh, no, we'll presume dead. Dead.
Yeah, presumed dead. His family didn't want to declare him dead. They had the option to in 2002, and they declined. But he was officially presumed dead on the 23rd of November 2008.
Again, that's just so they could sort out inheritance and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he must have ended up getting a shit ton of royalties.
Yeah.
Because when you die, that's probably like the best marketing ploy ever.
Yeah.
Because whenever someone dies, their stock goes right up.
Yeah.
Elvis is making a shit ton of money every year.
Yeah.
And Lisa
he's
Marie
still alive, isn't he?
There's rumours that he's still alive. There's rumours that Michael Jackson is still alive. Anyway, this guy is presumed dead at this point in time. So he's either dead and he committed suicide, or he's either alive, or he got struck by the Club 27 curse.
Yeah. So he's
The truth is, the police are shit because they should have dragged that river to find the bloody body, shouldn't they?
He'd even moved on quite a while.
No, they should have done it. They should have done it when they thought he jumped off the bridge, not now.
Yeah, but they didn't take his, like, they thought he was going to come back.
Yeah, but I guess he was sort of a rock musician, but once they found the car and they assumed that he had killed himself, they should have dragged the river. That's all I'm saying.
We would have moved on though by the time they realised that. We'd have been in the sea by then.
Possibly. So he could pop up alive, or he could pop up dead, or some remains of him might be found at some point. Who knows?
Yeah.
So it was a nice light-hearted episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if you're disappointed that we did not do the I've forgotten what we were supposed to do.
Chemtrails.
The chemtrails episode, or the light-hearted chat on ISIS, but we like depressing shit, alright? So we wanted to pick a guy that disappeared.
Yeah.
Basically, I thought it was more interesting than the topic that Matt picked, which was correct. I was correct. I'm always correct, really.
Mm.
So maybe I should just pick every topic from now on.
We both hope he's alive, though.
We both hope he's alive. I hope he's alive somewhere and he's managed to run away from his life that he found so disappointing and is in a happier place right now. Maybe maybe he's a music school teacher or something. Actually, no, he was not good at music. Maybe he's got a pen name and he's a songwriter in London. Who knows?
I don't know. I'm just guessing he's a recluse. Somewhere in Wales, I think.
Possibly, but who knows? I hope he's alive. I don't think he is, but I hope he's alive.
Somewhere. That's what the Welsh
Don't speak ill of the possible dead, Matt.
I'm speaking ill of the Welsh.
Anyway, I hope he's alive, and if you are, and Richie, if you're alive, you can email us at thedorkseduction@gmail. That's it. thedorkseduction@gmail.com. Or you can Facebook us, or you can tweet us, or you can website us.
Yeah, because he's going to get in contact with us before his family and the others.
Get in contact with us, Richie, and give us suggestions of what we should do for the next episode. So we don't have a situation like this again.
Yeah.
Where we have to shit together a last-minute episode because the one that Matt wanted to do sucked.
I think we should do Elvis or something next time.
Maybe at some point, we should probably do Elvis.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on that right now before we do the Elvis episode. He's dead.
How dare you?
There's no way someone would fake their death like that.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. Anyway.
He could have hid down the toilet or something. I don't know.
Anyway, it's been a very long episode that I'm going to hate editing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen, or whatever it is in German.
What? Auf Wiedersehen?
Au revoir. Yeah, au revoir.
That's French, you idiot.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I can say that better.
Au revoir.
Yeah, or adios.
Semmelabouche.
What's that?
Shut your fucking face.
There's no need for that kind of language.
Right. Bye-bye. I'm stopping now.